Hello, everybody, and thanks for joining over here. Always appreciate people's time, and I hope that this is worth your time, the hour that you're about to spend with me. I really am going to try my best to make it worth it for you. This webinar is being sponsored by SharePointVideos.com, and my name is Asif Rehmani. That's me right there. And just a quick background of about me. I have been in SharePoint, the SharePoint industry or the SharePoint community, whatever you want to call it, since 2002. And throughout that time, I've been a trainer, consultant, writer, speaker on SharePoint. After 12 years, I'm not tired yet, still going, and I still believe very strongly in the SharePoint platform. And I hope you do as well. So today we'll be talking about a challenge that a lot of people face, conquering the chaos of SharePoint and user support. And everybody wants to do it. There's definitely many strategies out there that people talk about to do it. And I'll be giving you my perspective from my experience so far working with many organizations as to what works, what doesn't work. Then you can be the judge if it makes sense to you or if not. Throughout the presentation, if you have questions, put it on the Q&A panel, and I'll definitely get to it as I get a chance. And also there's a couple of guys over there right now as well looking at the questions and answering what they're able to. So let me start with a quick story first, okay? This is a story about a beautiful looking intranet that did not provide the users what they needed most. Okay, so there's this university, which I will not mention exactly which one because I don't want to offend anybody, but great people that we worked with over there, and this is about 6-7 years ago. We made a intranet for them, really beautiful looking intranet, very functional, at least for the developers, you know, us and their guys. We thought it was really functional, and everything was going really smoothly. So a couple of months later was the first time that somebody thought to look at the search logs and to look at exactly what people are searching for, if they're able to find it or not. And it turns out that the most looked for item was never found by anybody. It's just, I mean, it was just not in the portal. And what I'm going to do actually is, before I give you the answer, I'm going to go ahead and put a poll out there to see if you guys can figure this out. And there we go. What do you think that was? The item on that university intranet that people were not able to find, the first topmost item. Now, of course, people who have heard me speak before, you might have a leg up on this thing because I've talked about this in various presentations. Let's see how many people get this. All right, let me just take a few seconds and close the poll. And I'm going to close it right now. All right, and here's the actual result that you guys are seeing. Now, 35% of you said class schedules, 30% said cafeteria menu, 10% said maps to nearby clubs and cafes, and 25% said faculty and staff contact info, right? Believe it or not, it was number 2, cafeteria menu. That's what people really wanted to know. And they were going to the intranet, the new intranet, to find out. The old intranet had that information. The new one did not. It had the class schedules. It had information about nearby stuff and, you know, attractions and cafes and stuff like that. It had information about contact info. It's all protected, of course, but it had all that information. Did not have the cafeteria menu. That was a top search. It just goes to say what, of course, we need to design the intranets. We need to design these portals for what people want, not what we think they want, what they really want and need. And that drives adoption. That drives the lack, hopefully, of needing to do lots of end-user support, etc. Right? All right, let's move on over here. So it's kind of like making this big jumbo jet and flying around in it without any passengers. Doesn't really help anybody, does it? And that's really what happens when users are not provided the correct direction of what they should be expecting, and then the support when they need it, how they need it. The target audience for this session, this is just a suggestion, more or less. You know, the SharePoint guys, the SharePoint gals, who are the SharePoint person out there, the photo solutions managers, communication specialists, and the intranet or the web content managers are the ones who I think will benefit the most. But in all honesty, anybody who's involved directly or indirectly with SharePoint's success in the company, I think all of them would benefit quite a bit by understanding at least what the users think and some of the strategies of what you can do about it. All right. So here's what this webinar will cover. First, current end user support challenges. And if you have some that you would like to call out, please definitely do so as well. I have some that I have put down on the slides. Some strategies to overcome those challenges. These are the ones that are coming from my experience. I can't say these are the only strategies. Of course, there's a whole lot more. There are some misconceptions also in the market that I'm going to try to dispel as to what works and what doesn't work. Okay, so it'll be my perspective here. Also, how does this system called VisualSP help automate end user support? VisualSP help system is a help system developed by SharePoint videos, and it took lots and lots and lots of research to develop this system, and I'll show you how this works. And if you need more information about it, definitely let us know. And also ideas for what to do with your time when the end users don't need you for supporting SharePoint anymore. There's a lot of stuff that you can do within SharePoint, so I'll be talking about that as well. And then I'll do a Raffle at the end as well. It's going to be 1-year access to SharePointVideos.com. And the Raffle, I'm going to try to do it more for people who are more engaged in the Q&A and so forth. Currently at SharePointVideos.com, there's 816 or so videos out there on all different topics, so you'll have access to everything for 1 year. Okay, so we'll do that at the end. All right. Quick overview of VisualSP, as I was talking about before. It provides the in-context and on-demand help for SharePoint users. It's an award-winning help system, and it's basically a help tab that just follows you around everywhere. So you see this help tab over here. You click on this thing, doesn't matter where you are, at a library, at a list, at a page. It gives you the information that you as a user would need at that time. So these items over here could be videos, could be documents, could be links to other information, could be images, screenshots, and things like that. It could be anything that you would need. And of course, who decides what you would need at that time? Well, we have, of course, a lot of stuff already pre-canned in there, but then all that stuff is completely configurable by the administrators of the site collection or the administrators of the farm at both levels. So here's just a demonstration of when you click on a screenshot or image, that's what pops up, showing you exactly what you see on the screen. Or here's a video playing, showing you exactly what you need to know at that time, right? And I'll get back to VisualSP later as well, show you some demos on that, but currently I want to talk, of course, about the end user support challenges, give you some strategies on that first. One other quick poll here, would like to know which version you're on. 2013, 2010, 2007, or earlier, the dark ages of SharePoint 2003, SharePoint 2001. Of course, there's one thing that's actually missing over here, and that's SharePoint Online, and that's on the poll as well. So, of course, you could be on SharePoint Online, Office 365, or any of these things. I'm going to start the poll right now, and see if you can share that. Lots of people on SharePoint 2010 that I see so far. All right, I'll give you a few more seconds and I'm going to close the poll and then share with you guys what everybody's on. We do have a lot of people, by the way, on this webinar. So you'll get a good sampling of, on a regular gathering like this thing, how many people are on which version of SharePoint. So I'm going to go ahead and close it right now. And then let me share it with you guys. Okay, so 33% on SharePoint 2013, 67% on SharePoint 2010, 10% on SharePoint Online, and 17% on SharePoint 2007. And I didn't put the other stuff, 2003 and 2001 in there, but I'm sure you might have a mixed environment. Some people do, which has that has those versions on there too. All right, let me hide these results for now, so you should be able to see my screen again. Let's talk through this over here. Who are the end users? You know, we talk about the end users all the time, but is anybody defining the end users? Well, I actually went to Webopedia and found the proper definition, at least as described by Webopedia, as to who the end users are. And here's what they say. The final user, the ultimate user, is looking for a product which is fully developed and marketed, bug-free and finished product. That kind of made me chuckle a little bit. But anyway, so a bug-free and finished product is what they're expecting. This is a relatively low computer expertise user. It's a pretty tall order to support a demanding, a true end user. You know, I've seen that. I'm sure you've seen that as well. It's very tough to really get to that level. Of course, these end users have amazing knowledge in the area that they're working in. But when it comes to using product like SharePoint, for example, you know, we have our challenges. So let's go ahead and talk about the current SharePoint end user support and adoption challenges. Okay, let's talk about that first over here. Here's a support person's point of view. Users are asking me the same questions again and again. I'm getting the same exact thing from various people, you know, things like, how do I create a new contact in a contact list? Why am I not seeing this list on the left-hand side? What is this left-hand side called? Quick Launch, right? You guys know. And how do I put more stuff on this page? How do I edit this page? How do I put my calendar so it shows up in this place over here? How do I have a description of the site here? Things like that. So if they're a site owner, they're asking these kind of questions, right? And the same question again and again come to people. I've seen that quite a bit. And then you, as a person or as somebody who you know who's supporting SharePoint, your job, of course, is to support these users and do your quote-unquote real job. And I hear this all the time from SharePoint people that, you know what, my job is not just SharePoint. SharePoint is part of my job. I also support Windows, maybe Exchange, Identity Manager. I have to support Active Directory. So that's from the infrastructure side. The other developer side, they have to do development and Visual Studio and all that good stuff, and then support the end users. So there's a pretty tall order. How do you do all that stuff? And then also people keep on going to the old ways of doing things. You know, there's an intranet that's still sitting out there, old intranet, and people start going there. Or there's a file server. People go there to get their documents and things like that, or some other form of information. How do we stop them from doing this and adopt the awesome intranet that we have developed, right, to really use that? You guys have anything more to share? If you do, please go ahead and put in the Q&A. We'd love to see some of that stuff in there as well, and I'll come back to it to read some comments in there. So, you know, there's some beautiful SharePoint intranet designs out there, like this one. It's from Kiwi Bank. There's this BenNet, and these are all publicly available at this source that I have listed down here. You can check this stuff out. Very, very beautiful intranets, but are they working? I mean, I hope so for these companies. They're beautiful looking, but is it enough? You need to go beyond just, of course, the beauty of how the website looks to see exactly what the users need and give them what they need for them to stick with it. An example I always think of in my mind is Craigslist. You know, Craigslist has been around for so long, and it's such a popular, such a high traffic site, and it still is just links and text, nothing really quote-unquote beautiful about it, but it's a really functional site that many people use. So how do you get to that, you know, to that adoption? Okay, so here's a quick solution to end user adoption. You guys ready? Okay, here you go. Okay. So pretty simple, right? Just gotta do the CAT scans on everybody, and you're all set. If this is not an option, if you need a different scenario, if you need to go a different route, then let's discuss. Let's talk about those things. All right. We also, of course, need to understand the end user point of view, right? Not just a support person point of view. What does the end user think? I like the way that things currently are. Why change it? Right? I don't want to learn a new technology or new software. I used to believe this thing that, yeah, some people, when they've done it for so many years, they wouldn't want to change things until the smartphone revolution really took off. And now I see my parents who had never really used a computer much before in their life, toting these smartphones around and doing email and texting and all that cool stuff and even going to the web. And I'm like, oh my God, how did this happen, right? The real question or the real statement that these end users, or my parents in this case, are really saying is that, what is in it for me? If there's something for me, if it's also easier to adapt, then of course I'll do it. I'm not really technology averse, but I need a reason. I need a really, really big reason for me to do this thing. So let me read some of the comments here first before I go into the next thing over here. So Lisa over here is saying, I started off as an end user, became a SME, and now I'm the SharePoint person for my division. Yeah, these kind of things happen all the time. Very true. Kevin is saying, asking actually, is there a way to automatically upload a document like a report to SharePoint for live updates? There's always automation opportunities everywhere in SharePoint, Kevin. There's so much. Workflows would come to mind in this case. Lisa is also saying, sometimes I call the quick launch the left-hand menu when talking to users. Yep, you definitely want to do that. You want to talk their language. Diana is saying, user habits are hard to break. I can definitely attest to that. Absolutely. It's really, you don't want to break any habit, at least in my point of view. You really want to accommodate what they're doing with what they need to be doing and then guide them to that path. I think it's very possible to do that. All right, there's many, many more over here, but I'm going to go ahead and go back to the end user training and support. If you build it, they will come is sadly not true for SharePoint. I'm sure you've seen that already happen. I wish it was true. SharePoint is a monster. It just works differently. It's not like Word. It's not like Excel. So empathy is key if you really, really want it to work. We need to understand exactly what the user is feeling. We need to understand why they should care. What's in it for them. If you were to ask to have your ways changed, would you change it? If you were to ask me that question, my answer would be that yes, I would change it if there's a substantial enough value to that change. Usually, by the way, this is also documented that for a person to adapt a new technology or something, do things different way, it has to be 9 times better than what they're currently doing. 9 times. It's quite a lot. All right? Is SharePoint 9 times better? It can be, depending on where you're coming from. Can the user understand exactly what it is in it for them? That is the hard part. Okay? So understand before being understood. Seemingly simple things to you and I, if you've been doing SharePoint for a long time, it's not really simple to an end user. Now, I'm going to give you a quick example. The kind of things that I see all the time. Somebody says, hey, put this policy document that our department has made into the document library in SharePoint. What does that mean, really? Put the document into the document library. So now the end user is looking at this library on their page, right? And they're seeing this new document. Do I click on this thing? Oh, there's an arrow here too. It's giving me another menu. Do I click on that? Do I need to make a new folder before I put the stuff in? Because is it going to be able to change later? What about this upload document? This makes sense, but wait a minute. There's links over here telling me to do a new document. What is that, by the way? Distractions galore. There's so much stuff over here. And then it says drag files here. So does that mean that I can go ahead and take maybe my files in Windows Explorer or somewhere else that I have it and I can put it in here by dragging it? The answer for the most part is yes, 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 and yes, and yes, right? There's so many different things you can do. But providing them help when they need it and when they intend to do something that that may or may not turn out to be the best way of doing things, that's where you want to come in and show them exactly what to do and what not to do. So here's another example or scenario that I want to present to you guys. A document is checked out, right? It's got that nice arrow in green box, and it says, well, it actually doesn't say anything. It's just there, and users trying to click it, and the document opens up, and it says it's checked out. That happens quite a bit. They don't know what that means. What is checked out? And they want to edit this document because they're supposed to. So usually the steps they take, and I've seen this happen many times, they look around on the screen like, oh, what does this mean? Can I see it in information somewhere on the screen? If they don't find it, the second thing they do is ask someone who's nearby, hey, Jill, and I know you know this SharePoint thingy over here. Can you help me out? Nobody around, email or call the help desk and see if they can help. Then they get into the queue of the 15th person to be helped. That doesn't happen usually. Or actually, I should put on that number 4 here too. So 4, give up completely and move on. That happens quite a bit as well. This SharePoint thing sucks, just like people were saying. It's just not working for me. So how do you train users? Usual traditional training, which I'll talk about a little bit later also, is you get them in a room, start training them. But no, please wait. Don't do that. Communicating business goals ahead of time. Very, very important. Many people say that it's, and I sort of agree that you can even do months in advance. Now, months might be an exaggeration, but definitely weeks in advance. You need to communicate the business goals. For Joe sitting in this particular department or in this region, why is it going to help him? Why is it going to benefit the company as a whole and his department or his region? What is in it for Joe? Clarifying also how his role is affected, his department, his subject area that he's focused on, how is it affecting him? I mean, this person could be a secretary, could be a paralegal, could be an analyst, could be an advisor, banker, it's all different walks of people, life. They all do SharePoint these days around the world. If you have Office, chances are at least you have a small deployment of SharePoint. So how does it apply to their role? Very, very important to communicate that. And then third, you go to train them on software and technology. That number 3, I can tell you, I've seen this so many times, is the number 1 every time. And after this being number 1, there is no number 1 and number 2. It's just number 3 is that, okay, let's get everybody in the room. We'll give them a 5-minute spiel of why this is important, maybe if we get a chance. Otherwise, we'll just train them. Okay? Sorry to say, but this training, the traditional way, costs a lot of money. Okay, so this is a figure that I have. This is from my own experience because I have done this training as well for many, many years. And when you train an end user, this is actually at the lower level for 2-day training. It's about $115 per user per day. Very, very low level end user training. These costs really add up. And they become ridiculous at times. I mean, look at these numbers. For 500 people, 57,500. 5,000 people, 575,000. Of course, this could be across years that this happens, but still, it's a lot of money. And here's a bold statement about training users the traditional way. Thorough end-user training on SharePoint is a waste of time. Okay, theirs and yours doing it. Here's why, in my humble opinion, I feel that this is true. By seeing it and reading statistics when I was baffled as to why is this not working. 10% of what they read after a typical 2-day of training, they remember. 20% of what they hear, they remember. 30% of what they see is what they remember. Okay, and even that is over some periods of weeks, I believe. And after that, it just disappears completely from your mind. If I don't need it right now, you're going to tell me all these cool things. I'm going to get excited about it. But then afterwards, I won't remember it. Happens all the time. So what do you do? So instead, here's some things that you can do. A kickoff training. Okay, a kickoff introduction training. Now, in this case, and we've done these as well, and I've seen many other people, very, very capable people, pull this off really nicely. It could even be 4 hours. It doesn't have to be the whole day. Okay, and within that training, you tell people exactly what they need to understand as far as the business goals are concerned, which you have already communicated before, hopefully, and how it's affecting their role. And then after doing this training or this kickoff, let's say, of this new system, after that, you have frequent awareness sessions once a month, twice a month if you could do this. And that could be lunch and learns, provide lunch, give them the opportunity to ask questions. Now, the important thing about this one, the lunch and learns and just frequent awareness sessions, is usually, we put a power user or a master trainer in the room to make this happen. Sometimes you don't need that type of person. All you need really is a regular end user. Believe it or not, when people have this aha moment when they understand something, they want to share it, especially in this world that we live in right now, of Facebook, Twitter, and all that stuff. People are getting used to that sharing thing quite a bit. And this person is excited about it, and this person is a colleague of the person who doesn't know how to do this thing. If that person stands up, or maybe sits down or whatever, but shares this information in front of their colleagues, that sticks a lot more than a trainer doing it who's thinking of it way in an advanced mode already. So that's my humble opinion. That is what I've seen as well. You want to have those people do the actual talking in these kind of meetings. On-demand quick help, extremely important. When a user is looking at the information, they're trying to find out exactly what am I supposed to be doing here. That's when you want to come in and say, here's how you can do this correctly, Sarah or John. All right. Tip sheets. Many companies have produced tip sheets, video tutorials. We see a lot of tutorials on YouTube, and of course we have lots of them on our website as well. Reference documents. So much out there. Of course, the problem is that there's so much out there. Okay, when somebody goes and looks for these things, they get lost, and because of that plethora of information out there, people just don't, complete what they're intending to complete. So the tip sheets on desks, they work, but the problem with that is, how do I know exactly which tip sheet that I need? And of course, it's going to be some information that I have. It's going to have everything in there, and those tend to get lost or damaged quite a bit as well. But if that's the only option, then of course you go that route. Also, providing a reference knowledge portal, extremely important. There are users who get excited when they see something working and they want to know more. At that point in time, you need to provide them an outlet to look, to explore more, to go out there and get to the library of videos or documents or other stuff that you've compiled for them, online or on location, whatever you want to do. You want that person or those people to be able to take that opportunity and run with it. Okay? Now, as far as the on-demand quick help, this is where the VisualSP product comes in. So I want to go ahead and give you a tour of that as well, and then I'll come back and talk about some other opportunities. Okay, VisualSP is an in-context and on-demand help system for SharePoint users. It was developed after talking to many people who were SharePoint community influencers, friends of mine many times as well, Microsoft people, learning exactly what the issues are in the market, because they are seeing quite a bit of that information from there as well. Fellow MVPs and Microsoft certified trainers and all that I've talked to over many years. And our team and myself, we looked at all these things together, talked to potential customers and existing customers, and we came up with this. So, in context, support provided through a help tab directly in the ribbon. This is SharePoint 2010. This is SharePoint 2013. There's a solution for both of those products. There's a solution for SharePoint Online as well. There's nothing for SharePoint 2007 or before. Okay, we started in SharePoint 2010, so SharePoint 2010, SharePoint 2013, and of course SharePoint Online as a VisualSP app, but there's nothing for before that. All content categories, everything that you see over here, everything is configurable. So this groups over here, the content over here, everything is configurable at the site collection level, web application level, farm level. And of course the content we provide, which is quite a lot, 105 end user videos, lots of reference documents, screenshots, and we provide lots of independent one-on-one help as well. We don't just leave you alone after the install. We bother you. We tell you, you know what, how can we make you successful? So we share best practices as well. No charge for any of that stuff, by the way. But after that, customizing it, configuring it, very, very much possible. In fact, it's very recommended that people do. So what I want to do is give you a quick tour over here of VisualSP. This is running, here we go, this is running in SharePoint 2013. But the same way it would be in SharePoint 2010 as well. The interfaces are exactly the same. Basically, there's a help tab that pops up, right? And this help tab just follows you around as a user, wherever you go, okay? Doesn't leave you alone, which is a good thing for end users. I'm looking at this page, for example, I'm seeing these cool things which are promoted links, right here, as you guys know, I'm sure. How do I change this thing? How do I get rid of it? Or this stuff here, what is that? What is that? Help tab, editing a web page. Okay, let me click on that. Video pops up. This is a remote server I'm using, by the way, so you can't hear it. But the video is playing and it's fully narrated. All videos in our case is 2 minutes or less. Of course, you can make it full screen. Check out exactly what's happening. And, you know, another good thing that we learned after talking to many of our customers is you can also, it's also good to pop out the window. And so you can do this side by side. You know, you go ahead and take this window, put on the side here, take this window, put it on the other side, and now you can actually do things while looking to see exactly how it's done. So quite helpful. All right, so that's, in a nutshell, quickly how VisualSP works with videos. But what else? There's also page quick reference. Exactly what you're seeing on the page. What does it mean? What does checkout means? What does this text editing options mean? Where are these things? Right? You can of course make this bigger as well and see it in full screen. So extremely helpful when you're looking at the page and provides you help to when you need it. You can also bring up a document. In our environment, I think it's going to authenticate me here, but no worries. I have the administrator password. Let me take that, throw it here. Okay, so a document comes up, right? And if you have Office Web Apps, then it would come up directly on the server in the web page. Regardless, documentation, screenshots, images, videos, and also links. Maybe you can put a link over here. Some of our customers have done that. Put a link to another reference portal or something else that you want them to go to, or to submit a support ticket. And these are all web page specific things. If I go to documents, this help would be for documents right here, right? Checking out a document, checking in a document, same exact thing. You click on it, get information that you need at that time. You go to announcements list, same thing over here. Help page, help tab, list quick reference. So this is a screenshot of what you're looking at. And then you click on this and you should see a video, what you should be seeing. For people who are administrators, or at least administrators of lists and libraries, you can go to list settings, and in here you see a help tab right here. So that's specific to people who can manage the list, right? Similarly, if you can go to site settings, there's a help tab there as well for people to do site settings stuff. In fact, this, I put this in recently. I believe this is going to bring up a YouTube video. Yeah, right here. So that's actually coming from YouTube, and it looks just like it's coming from my system. How does all that stuff get configured? I'm sure you're thinking, or you're asking. So we have you would make a site collection and that is designated as a farm hub. By the way, this is also a good place if you want to make a knowledge portal. You can make a knowledge portal in a farm hub as well, that I've seen to work really nicely. And within the farm hub, you go into site settings, and there's specific VisualSP settings. So you go to the bottom, VisualSP help items, And all the help items are right here. Okay, so if I go into something like, let's see, adding users to a site, let's look at that. We do support other languages, by the way, but right now the default is English. The actual group that it's going to show in, the title of the video, description of the video, the link to the video. This is in the site assets library. Oops, I think I deleted something. Here we go. This is an MP4 file, but it could be anywhere. It doesn't have to be in the site assets. The exact viewer that you need to show that artifact. So it could be a video, it could be a document, it could be a QuickTime video, it could be image, it could be a YouTube video, it could be a web page. So you pick the viewer, you pick exactly where it's located, you pick the icon, because we provide lots of icons also, you provide your own, and then you pick the scope. Extremely important, right? Where do you want this help item to be shown? And it could be multiple places. It could be a blog post list, it could be a wiki page, it could be a discussion board, whatever you want it to be. There's also a VisualSP web part that comes with the system, and you can actually use that to define custom scopes. I'll show you an example of that too in a minute. Sometimes we don't want everybody to see everything. You know, this is, of course, with or without VisualSP, this is extremely important. You want to make things context sensitive plus security permission restrictive as well. It has to be security trimmed, and that's what you can do with the system as well. So this help item, for example, I can say, you know what? Oops. Okay. So what I can say over here is I want people who may or may not have delete list items, still they can see this particular help item. So you can do that as well. And there's other permissions that you can do. But that's in a nutshell how you can make a new help item. You know, you can copy existing help items to make new ones, just like that. You say copy, and then it makes a copy quickly. And then you go ahead and make new ones, or go ahead and edit this one. Let me go ahead and delete this one before I forget. Complete support for different languages like French, English, Spanish. Here we go. This is French. Okay, if you go to a French site collection, automatically it's going to have the help tab, say aid, and then all the information, all the different artifacts here, like that. In addition to these things, as I was kind of mentioning before, if I go to my intranet, and I say help tab is all nice and good, but I want information in the middle of the page. Well, there's a web part which will let you put the help items in the middle of the page as well, like that. So, for example, I took our SharePoint branding videos and I went ahead and put those on this page. Same exact kind of functionality. Somebody clicks on the video and it opens it up, starts playing it here. The help tab still shows the help items for a page. Another thing that people asked us is, how can I take these items that you have in the VisualSP web part, maybe make custom items and put them up there, meaning, how can I have this stuff right here maybe show up in the help tab? So we made that happen as well. Actually, that's also a system feature. You go into the web part modification here and VisualSP, and this will let you override the ribbon tab. By doing that, help tab now shows all the branding videos, and of course I can hide this web part so it doesn't show up like that, but you can override very, very simply and quickly as well. Okay, let me take that off for now, save this page, take some questions and thoughts out there. What is the web part called? Stephanie's asking. That's a VisualSP web part. And yes, we are recording everything, Gary, so you will see the whole recording being displayed. In fact, as far as the recording goes, in case you guys are interested, there's actually lots of information on the VisualSP page. So this is our site right here. From business, if you go to VisualSP help system on SharePointVideos.com, or you can get to it from homepage as well directly. There's a link to that. But when you get to VisualSP, there's all this information here, screenshots, and there's also quite a bit of videos in the video showcase. So if you click on the Watch Now here, adding a custom image, custom video, YouTube video, custom training videos, there's a lot of information like that that's there, showing how to inherit items. So you can control things at the farm level, web application level, and site collection level, like I said, and this will show you how you can do that. So definitely check that out. Let us know if you have questions. I do want to show you, actually, let me take other questions first before I go forward. Is SharePoint online? In SharePoint, there's no access to farm. Is there a way to make that work? Aha, good question, Charles. Thank you for asking that question, because I'm going to show that to you right now. It is true that within VisualSP app, there are many restrictions like that. Office 365 as a whole is a beautiful system, but it's full of restrictions, sometimes for our own good. But this is the app that we have, VisualSP Help System for Office 365, that you can find directly by going to SharePoint App Store or going to Office 365 and then saying that I want to shop the App Store and look for VisualSP. And the way it looks, this is Office 365. This is a preview environment, but it's the same exact thing as the regular real one. But when you go in there and you happen to be on a list or library or something, within list you're going to find the View Help Content button. And this actually brings up, once again, in context, help items for you. For this one's going to be announcement list information. So creating a list item, okay, creating an announcement list. All that good stuff is there. And all the stuff, in case you are wondering, where is this stuff coming from? This is coming from Azure. Okay, so all this stuff is being delivered from Windows Azure Cloud Service. You can also directly look into different videos and stuff here as well if you want. Oh, there's nothing for external list. Let me pick something there. There is something for in this particular environment. There we go, links list. And obviously all this stuff is configurable, so in this particular one I don't have everything configured. Document library, lots of information for that. And setting all this stuff up, you go into Site Contents. Within Site Contents is the actual app, which is VisualSP Help System. And within the VisualSP Help System, you find that there's a way to manage the help items. I put a new one in there for YouTube, for example. Click on New, and then the same kind of screen that comes up in a farm arrangement comes up here. Many icons we provide, the title you can provide, link you can provide, the exact player you want, the scope you want, and that's about it. So in this case, for example, the document library does have this SharePoint 2013 workflows video. I'll show that to you in a second. But before that, let me go into the managed settings to answer the question that Charles was asking. There is no farm in Office 365, right? There's no farm. So what do you do? What we have done here is we take a hub site. So you take a site collection and make that a hub site. And then you define that hub site in here. HTTP blah, 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 .SharePoint videos, whatever, .SharePoint.com. And that site collection then would serve all other site collections, the content. Okay, you can define that here, that if you want that to happen, if you don't want that to happen. Of course, this one right here says if you want the local items that are defined in the manage help items to be shown or not. And then this is the global content service, which is what we are using to provide VisualSP documents and images and all that so forth. So that's coming from the cloud. Okay, that's how the setting works in a nutshell. The About VisualSP here shows a lot of information here as well. The whole app is available for 30 days for free. So if you want to get a trial like the one that's running right now, it's completely full-featured. Check it out from going to VisualSP app from the App Store and try it. Let us know if you have any questions or feedback while going through it. Definitely, we'll all love to hear that. One more thing that I wanted to show you in the actual farm deployment that I forgot is, many times you have other apps and other systems, for example, Nintex and other things like that, which are awesome applications or awesome systems, and you want help for your users for that as well. So we do have that running. If I go into, I think this is the one that has that. Yeah, so Nintex workflow is running here, for example, and if I say, all right, I want to make a new site workflow or something similar to that, this is the environment, right? Well, we could put up a help tab there as well. And the Help tab here provides Nintex, publicly available Nintex videos and documents and things like that here. So if I click on Create a Simple Workflow, this actually is a document that's available from the Nintex site. And it shows information about that. I can make it full screen as well here. Extremely helpful, if I should say so myself, for the end user who is struggling to say, you know what, this is all cool stuff. I can drag and make all these things here, but what does this mean? How do I do this? How do I make a regular workflow? Building an approval workflow. Yeah, that's what I want. Let me click on that. And this shows you the video for that. And this is coming from YouTube, by the way. Okay, extremely seamless over here, completely easy to understand for the end user as to what's going on. And it's not too much stuff, as well as just giving them enough information for them to be successful at the time that they need it. It can be done with any kind of other apps and software as well. So this is the Nintex stuff here. All right. Well, let me know. Let's see, there's other questions out there also. Let me check those out before I go further. Is Office 365 required for VisualSP to be functional for context-sensitive help? Office 365 is, of course, SharePoint Online, and that's the app that I showed you. But if it's a private cloud, a private hosted environment, then in that private hosted environment, the full-blown version of VisualSP would be the one that would get delivered and installed over there. Okay. Marianne is asking about the price. Marianne, I'm not going to go into all the pricing stuff right now, but the pricing is on the site. So if you do go into the VisualSP page, okay, if you go into, here's the VisualSP page, you do see the pricing. Oh, this is not it. This one. You do see the pricing down below as well, so check that out and let us know if you have any questions on that. It is priced by the SharePoint server, by the way, so it's not if you have hundreds of thousands of users, you get priced for hundreds of thousands of users. VisualSP Farm Solutions is priced by the server. Okay. All right. Let me continue with my presentation also and show you some other things that I think would be beneficial to you. So go back over here to my presentation. Here it is. So let's say you have the end user support tied down, okay? You got it all figured out, and we can definitely help if you want to talk about this further, by the way, after this webinar. Now what do you do with your time, with your freed up SharePoint time? SharePoint can do a lot of stuff. Collaboration, document management, forms, process automation, reporting, search. There's so much that SharePoint can do, and here's some super secret, which I'm going to let you in on. Don't tell anybody else, all right? The next version of SharePoint will be able to make coffee as well. Okay? Don't tell anybody. This is our secret. So implement quick wins. Have it understood that when you do make quick wins, looking at the pain points, focusing on them, that will get you lots of kudos. That will get you, an amazing amount of respect within the company and the department as well. I've seen it, done it. And look at the pain points. Follow the pain points to a solution. A lot of times these are no-code solutions. You don't need to really do much to make it happen. For example, human resources onboarding processes, vacation scheduling system, vendor management portal, employee training scheduling. There's so much that you can do with SharePoint. And a lot of the stuff, if not all of it, could be no-code solutions. And I'm going to give you some ideas in this PowerPoint deck as well, show you some, screenshots of the stuff that I've taught on, that I've developed on before and demonstrated stuff. This is just some of the stuff. There's so much more, though. Customizing sites using SharePoint Designer. Now, SharePoint Designer 2013, the story changes. I understand. Those of you who are talking about that. But in SharePoint Designer 2010, you can do a lot of design for your pages and stuff, right? Using a design the design view. As far as the workflows goes, the story is extremely strong in SharePoint 2013, even SharePoint Designer 2013, but it was also very strong on SharePoint Designer 2010 as well. So use that to your advantage, make some awesome solutions. Create powerful views using Excel. There's something called Power View. So extremely, extremely useful to use a Power View to make dashboards, to make your data just pop in the SharePoint environment. You can do that. You can make it happen. You can make web applications using Access. Okay, Access 2013 in this case lets you make web applications, and those are also very cool to do. Geolocation columns. Not sure how many people realize, but there's a column, a site column within SharePoint called geolocation column, and you can use that for live mapping. Have it directly be within lists and libraries. A lot of good stuff you could do with that as well. Search in SharePoint 2013 specifically is a big news, and the search web parts you can use to have predefined search results. For example, somebody comes to a page, automatically information they need about, let's say, human resources from all different places show up on that page, and it's all live data, not static, but all live data, and that's driven through a search result or a search content web part. Absolutely possible, very possible to do. So some thoughts about how you can practice these ideas and concepts. There's so much information from Microsoft's site, so much information on YouTube, so much information on TechNet, MSDN. We also have lots of information, lots of videos, lots of free videos that you can also check out at this URL. If you subscribe to the site, then you can see more stuff there as well if you wanted to. And there's also a cloud share environment, like the one that actually I was showing you that I was using to do my demo. You can get that cloud share environment for free for 14 days, and you can use that if you like. After that, there's a charge for that from CloudShare. That's a different company, by the way. But having some place to be able to practice those ideas and those thoughts really helped quite a bit. Yeah, that's just an overview of all the different kinds of video tutorials and stuff that we have on our site on SharePointVideos.com. And all these packages, by the way, can be imported into VisualSP as well. So all that stuff can go into VisualSP, as I showed you the branding package, which was this one right here. Right, that went to VisualSP and showed up in the VisualSP web part. But any of these things can also go into VisualSP and show up to train users, to very focused type of training. That works pretty nicely as well. Or you could do it online. All right, call to action. By the way, I do want to do Raffle. I want to answer questions as well. But quick call to action here. Empathize with the end user. It's going to take you a long way. Provide the end users the help they need it when they need it. Extremely important. Very important. I cannot emphasize this enough. Not just through VisualSP. Of course, VisualSP is a product that you can or can, if you don't have to use. We think it's a very good solution to use it, but you want to provide them a way to get the help when they need it. Extremely important. Enjoy building no-code solutions on SharePoint. And thank you very much for joining. What I want to do first, like I said before, is do a raffle here, and that's very random in nature. I'm going to go ahead and get a count questions here, and then just give me a second here. Have your questions keep coming in, please, and we'll try to answer those questions as best we can. So the winner today, definitely here, seems to be Lisa Davis. Okay, yeah, that's for the raffle. So Lisa, please go ahead and if you get a chance, okay, I see you here. Awesome. Let us know. Email us. And that's info@sharepointelearning.com is the best way. You can go to the website and click on contact as well. But let me go ahead and put the email address here. info@sharepointelearning. Oops. Maybe I should start it a little bit over here. Excuse me. Let's try this again. info@sharepointelearning.com. Okay, so anybody else also, if you have any questions, let us know at this email address. But Lisa, throw us an email. Your name is already going to be passed to the right person, and she will go ahead and set up your account for 1-year access to SharePointVideos.com. All right. Let's go through some of the questions. Okay, so Ming is asking VisualSP, would it affect farm performance? So Ming, we have actually caching set up for that. Everything gets cached And we have seen over a course of a long time now that the performance does not get affected if you have caching turned on. Okay, even without that, there's minimal amount of information that's passing through. As part of the videos and stuff is concerned, yeah, of course, the streaming is happening through the bandwidth. So yes, that does take some bandwidth. But as long as the videos are not too long, which our videos are very short, they're to the point, about 5-6 megabytes each, so they don't take up much space to begin with, and the bandwidth is just not an issue so far. I see a comment from Lisa saying, I never win anything. Well, today's your lucky day, Lisa. You won today. Rocky's asking, is the pricing for the VisualSP based on web front-end servers and application servers? It is, yes. So it is exactly, that's what it is. SharePoint servers, basically web front-end servers and application servers. Okay, the pricing is definitely right there. Marianne is asking about VisualSP. Is VisualSP a sandbox solution? It is not a sandbox solution. Sandbox solutions are getting deprecated, by the way, also, unfortunately. I liked sandbox solution personally. VisualSP is an app in the app model in Office 365, and on-premise in the farm, VisualSP is a farm solution. It is not a sandbox solution. Matthew was asking before about the Raffle. Is it a new BMW M3 or BMW M3? No, sorry, it's just 1 year access to our site, not BMW. All right. Lisa is also asking about something over here, or actually making a comment. SharePoint Designer is locked down to only the SharePoint team in our corporation, about 10 people. If you want something done, we have to have them implement it with a cost to our users, and usually takes months. Yikes, even to do a simple workflow that would take me an hour. It takes weeks. Yeah, I've seen this kind of stuff, unfortunately. I believe if you have an evangelist, if you have maybe an outside person also, convince the team about the pros and cons and the dangers and non-dangers of SharePoint Designer, you could open it up to a group of people within a site collection. You could definitely do that, and that works out nicely when the administrators see, what the power is, because, like you said, you can do something in an hour because you have the knowledge that the others might not. All right, a couple of minutes over here. So, is Power View part of Enterprise Edition of SharePoint 2010? Power View actually is in SharePoint 2013, because Power View is actually not even in SharePoint. It's supported by SharePoint 2013, but it's a feature of Excel 2013. Power View used to be there in SQL Server and Analysis Service and stuff like that before, but now Microsoft brought it into Excel in 2013, and it's extremely powerful. There's actually videos of all the stuff that I talked about on the site as well. Many of them are free videos as well that you can watch. Others are under subscription, so check that out. Gary has a comment. FYI, I recently purchased access to all of your SharePoint videos. They are excellent. Thank you very much, Gary. Appreciate the feedback. Marie is asking a question. I believe this is about VisualSP. How often do you add to the selections to include? And I'm sure you're talking about the content of VisualSP, right? Yeah, we have updates that we have plans. Well, currently it's quarterly updates, and it might become more frequent. It might become less frequent depending on how much content we are able to give out. But usually it's quarterly updates to content, even more frequent updates to the actual product that we're upgrading quite a bit. It's currently 4.5.3 version, I believe, is the current version of VisualSP. Okay. Wade is asking, how much of this can you do in SharePoint 2010? Everything that I showed for VisualSP you can do in 2010 and 2013. Exactly the same. Okay, SharePoint Online, there's no access. Okay, so Charles, that was the question before. Don is asking about the price. So as I mentioned before, the price is on the site. Please check that out and let us know if you have questions. Aaron, do you also think that the Help tab will become too much of a crutch for admins? Meaning if they only learn to use the Help tab, will they know where these items live natively? Well, the end user will not know where the items live. They might as well live on a streaming server or the cloud or YouTube or within a SharePoint document library. It could be anywhere. The end user, of course, they can find out if they're really motivated, but usually they won't be able to find out the way it's implemented. Regardless, I don't feel personally that it becomes a crutch, Aaron. You know, it helps quite a bit the admins to control exactly what they want their users to see and what they don't want them to see. As I was mentioning before, it could be done at the site collection level, at the whole web application level, or at the farm level. So inheritance works all different ways like that. Jen is asking, is this help tab customizable? We do not allow any users to create new sites or delete sites, and I saw that was one of the items in the help tab. Can we remove this? Absolutely. Any of these help items, whatsoever, can be removed, added to. You can export the whole list, bring it into a different site collection. All that stuff you could do. Absolutely. Okay, Stephanie is saying, I don't have, excuse me, I don't have help on any of my sites. When I go to the SharePoint store, the beta VisualSP app says the developer will stop supporting the app soon. What's up? Good question, Stephanie. The beta app came out a year and a half ago, long time ago, and that's already been pulled from the store. So because it's been pulled from the store, if you have the beta apps installed, it's going to say, you know, it's not supported anymore. So the new app, so you want to uninstall beta app, reinstall or install the new one, and that's the real VisualSP app. The first beta was exactly what it was. It's beta. At the beginning of the App Store, we did that. Way in the beginning. How does the help information get populated related to the client's environment? Gene is asking. Yeah, so the scope that I showed, Gene, that's the key in that regards. You know, when you go and you set up something, a help item, so to say, and you define exactly what scope you want it to be, that's how the help item understands. Here, I'm going to show this in my screen quickly here. That's how any of these help items know exactly where to show up. Let me put the English default here. So checking in a document, the checking in a document has a scope of document library. I can also say, you know what, show this in a, what would make sense, maybe a wiki page. So it shows up on a regular page or show up somewhere else. And that's how I would know exactly where to show up. Okay? All right. Let's see over here. Take a couple more questions. Then, folks, thank you very much for all these questions. Let us know if you can help for other things as well by just dropping us a line, either at the info@sharepointelearning.com address or directly by going to our website and clicking on the Contact Us, either way, or just reply to this when you get an email from this webinar. Jose's got a question about what happens when you open your Explorer and try to open your SharePoint page and it does not open up, but sends you to an error and states that cautions you to open tour page. Still have to click on the item that has sent me to any page. Is there any system issue or server issue from our SharePoint site? So that's pretty detailed and pretty specific, Jose. Drop us a line, and if you have seen something like that, we'll definitely help you out. Not sure exactly what's going on in your environment specifically here. Christine is saying VisualSP seems great. If we are on SharePoint 2010 now and we purchase this product, what happens if we upgrade to SharePoint 2010? Do we have to purchase the new help product again? No. Very good question, Christine. We support you. There's a maintenance charge of 25% actually of the price year after year, and that actually will get you automatically to the next version, next content, everything. So there's no additional charge when you do upgrade. Okay. Okay, I think that's it for right now. Thank you very much, folks. It's been great. I really appreciate your time. Hopefully you got something out of this presentation. Hope to see you again on a different webinar. If you have any ideas for other webinars, that would be awesome as well. Send it our way. And as I said before, if you would like more information, go to the website. Lots of information there, and drop us a line. All right? Thanks, and have a great rest of the day. Bye now.